Section 3.3, graph using intercepts. So the form of a line that you're all very familiar with is y equals mx plus b. But there's also another form called standard form. And it looks like this. ax plus by equals c. And the biggest difference between this and slope-intercept form is that your x and your y are on the same side of the equal sign. Normally, we're used to seeing y equals mx plus b, where x and y are on opposite sides of the equal sign. So that's the largest difference there. In order to be in standard form, a couple rules must apply. Your a, b, and c must all be real numbers. So we've talked about what constitutes a real number: fractions, decimals, negatives, even irrational numbers like pi or the square root of 10. Those are all real. So those can be your coefficients, a, b, and c, just numbers. Number 2, both a and b cannot be 0 at the same time. If they were, you would have 0 times x, which just gives you 0, 0 times y, which just gives you 0, and then you would have 0 equals maybe some number like 5. That's not even true. So both a and b can't be 0 at the same time, but one of them could be. So if a is 0, 0 times x just gives you 0, and then you might have like 6y equals 12, and then y would equal 2, and we're going to do that in a second. So just a couple rules there that you need to know. Next, when we are actually graphing a line that is given to you in standard form, you're going to use the x and the y intercepts. The intercepts, as a reminder, are the place where your line is crossing through your x and your y axis. Okay? You only need 2 points to determine a line, so those are the only 2 points you need to find to connect to create your line. To find the X-intercept, if you notice a point that's on the X-intercept, its y value is always going to be 0. So in order to find that X-intercept, you're going to let y equal 0 by plugging it in to the equation and then solving for x. To find your Y-intercept, you're going to let x equal 0. Because if you look at any point on the y-axis, it has 0 where your x is, and then some number for y. So we're going to apply that now to find some x-intercepts of our equations. We have 5x minus 10y equals 30. So first, finding the x-intercept. How do you find the x-intercept? Let y equal 0. So in this equation, 5x minus 10y, we're plugging in a 0 where that y is, equals 30. Every single time you plug in 0 for a term, it's going to disappear because you're multiplying it by 0. So it just becomes 0, and now it's gone. So that whole part is gone, and you're just left with 5x equals 30. Once you divide both sides by 5, you get that x is equal to 6. That is your x-intercept, okay? So technically, the x value is 6. The y value is 0. So if we were to graph this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's where that point would go on your x-axis. The y-intercept then is found by letting x equal 0. So we're taking that same equation we were given, 5, but plugging in 0 for x, minus 10y equals 30. And so now, the first term that had x is going to be gone because you're multiplying it by 0. And what you're left with is negative 10y equals 30. Dividing both sides by negative 10, gives you -3. So again, that's your y-intercept, where x is 0 and y is -3. So 1, 2, 3, there's your y-intercept. And then again, you only need 2 points to determine a line. So when you connect those 2 points, boop, there's your line. Simple as that. So if we take a look at an example, number 2, graph the equation. 2x plus 3y equals 12. First of all, you need to recognize that it is in standard form where both x and y are on the same side of the equal sign. When that is the case, then you're going to go through this process of finding both the x and the y-intercept, plotting them, and then connecting them. So, the x-intercept, how do you find it? Let y equal 0. So, what you should start to notice is that every single time you're plugging in 0 for y, that entire term disappears. So then you're just left with the 2x equals 12. So you don't really have to show the work where you were plugging in 0 for that term if you can realize that every time it's going to become 0. So then you're just left with the term that involves x in the answer. So then dividing both sides by 2, 12 divided by 2 gives you 6. So your x-intercept is positive 6. Your y-intercept, again, every single time you're plugging in 0 for x. So that whole term is going to just disappear. And you're left with the term that involves y in the answer. So jot that down. Make sure you're grabbing the sign that is in front of your y term. So in this case, it's positive. So now we're just solving for y. Divide both sides by 3. And y equals 4. That is your y-intercept, positive 4. Those are your 2 points, your intercepts of the line. Connect them, and there's your line. The next page. Even with decimals, you're still doing the same thing. I'll do example 4 with you as well. To find the x-intercept, let y equal 0. So again, that term disappears, and you have 0.4x equals 2. To solve for x, you're dividing both sides by 0.4. Divide by 0.4. 2 divided by 0.4 is 5. So your x-intercept is 5. Again, that's the point 5, 0. To find your y-intercept, you're letting x equal 0. So that term disappears, and you're left with 0.02 y equals 2. 2 divided by 0.2 on both sides gives you 10. So your y-intercept is 10. Again, that's the point 0, 10. So when you plot your points, your x-intercept was 5, your y-intercept was 10. Connect them, and there's your line. I'll let you try the rest on your own. Check the notes in the collaboration space to make sure that you did them correctly, and let me know if you have any questions.